Dave is on, and Mr. Hammond's on, and Michelle's on.
We've got you.
Hi, how
Hi.
are you?
Good, how are you?
Okay. Fred's taking my seat.
Very good.
Oh, hi, kids. Dave, Lenny's probably going to be a call-in.
Yeah. Yeah, he called me before to see if he needed to know anything about tonight, and I said no, just the dial-in number. So
Okay, good.
also, I have a supplemental agreement number 3 for Bartlett Judas for Tilson Avenue. I'll give that to you tomorrow to sign. It needs a notary on it, so I just got that a little while ago.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Paul, if you have not spoken with Paul, Paul's going to run us through the moratorium narrowing.
Yeah.
And he did explain to me my question that I had with you, and he made it
Very
very
good.
clear about the HBD and the CCRC. So I
Good.
that was my.
Okay, that's great.
I just don't ask me to tell you what that stands for, but I got it in my head.
It's all good. It's all good. Yeah, Paul's been great, huh?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hi, guys.
Hi,
Good
Claire.
afternoon.
Call-in user, can I get your name?
Hey, Sean Murphy, Dave.
Hey, Sean.
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Sean, this is Freddie, and we got this figured out that the billboards it's in a public hearing phase now. And we're just going to continue that to the 15th.
Yeah, then we'll pass on the 15th.
Yes, thanks.
Or consider it on the 15th.
Yes. And Dave, I expect Peter and Ray to be on to talk about the parking.
Okay. Brand new call-in user, can I get your name?
Yes, this is Mike Guerriero, Dave.
Hey, Mike.
How are you? How are you?
Good, how are you?
Little good. Little tricky getting it today. Hello.
Sean, if you can, that feedback's coming from you.
That should work.
Okay. Hey, Wendy,
Hi, Dave. Am I muted or unmuted?
you are unmuted now.
Okay, thank you. So,
Hi, Wendy.
hi, Claire. How are you?
Hey, Wen, this is personal business. Can I just ask you a quick question?
Well, we're on.
Oh, good. Good. This is being recorded, just so everybody knows.
Okay. No, it's about the taxes. How can I get the tax bill for the wood? I have to send it into the accountant.
Oh, I can do that for you.
You can, would you email it to me? Is that okay?
You need your 2019s or your 2020s
I think it's 2019.
to do your taxes. Yep. No, that's you.
You're the best. Thanks.
Problem.
Now that'll have the land and the school, right?
No, it only is land, but I'll pull up your school taxes online and send that.
Thanks, Wen.
Let me make a note, otherwise I'll forget.
I really appreciate it.
No problem.
I hate any other work on your schedule.
No, that's okay. Hey, Russ, where were you going off to in such a hurry a little bit ago? I thought maybe something was going on at the park. Oh, is he muted? Hi, Russ. Is he muted, Dave?
Mr. Gilmer is not muted.
Oh.
Disregard.
Okay. Russ, you can hear us okay?
No, can't hear.
I'm about to call Lenny. Are you on? All right, I have you on speakerphone, and I'm going to set you up on the computer, so just don't say it.
Hello?
Tell Dave, just let Dave know you're in.
Dave, I'm here with Freddie, I guess.
I feel safer already. Brand new calling user. Can I get your name?
This is Mark.
Hey, Mark.
Thanks.
Unmute.
Try to log
Can
off,
see-
log back in.
I did twice.
Are you on
Russ,
Zoom or WebEx?
Russ, we can hear you fine. Russ, we've got you 5 by 5, so.
Stupid. Dave, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, you've got to
Thank
mute.
you.
You've
My
got to
wife
mute.
had to show me to turn on the speaker. It helps.
But better keep her around.
Okay,
You
can
guys
leave.
going to have to
You
mute.
can leave.
You
Thank
can
you.
mute. Somebody needs to mute.
Thanks, Dave.
Russ, I've got you on mute because I'm getting a little bit of feedback from your mic, so I know you know how to unmute yourself.
Dave, how many town board members you have?
I have 4 at the moment. Mike G, Freddie Pizzuto, Claire Winslow, and Lenny's on the phone. Yep, that's all I got.
You dropped off for some reason. You're back on.
It just fell off.
That's all right.
Whose puppy is that?
Yeah.
Hold on a second. Let me try
That's
to
mine.
tell Richie to call in on some other number. Are you there, Rich? Rich, you there? Lenny, you back? Lenny, you back?
So now I've got 3, Wind.
Okay. Okay.
You there, Len? Let me try to get you on.
Everybody getting bumped up?
I've got a bunch
I had,
The numbers that I have,
There you go.
they're in my area, so
You're on speaker. You're on. Klotz was trying to dial in, but I got you already on the phone, so he's gonna have to find another avenue. You beat him to the punch.
All right.
Who's this Richard? Is that Richie? Oh, you know, let me do.
Is Joe going to be on? Should we? Is he on? Joe, you on?
Yes, I'm here, Mr. Supervisor.
Thank you, Joe. Dave, we're all here. We want to start.
yeah, you're good to go.
Lenny, you want to lead us in the pledge, please?
Yes, I'd love to. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. First order of business is the public hearing local law on signs. Speaking with Sean, we've opened it. We're in the public hearing phase, and tonight we're just going to continue it to the 15th so that we can have our regular public hearing. Sean, do I need to do anything else or just continue it? Do I need a motion?
No, just continue it. Let everybody know.
Okay.
The public hearing will be continued on the 15th.
Great, thank you very much. Next is public hearing local law on temporary moratorium. Paul, are you on?
Hey, Paul, Rob's on as well.
Oh, thank you. Rob, do you want to just kind of walk us through this? We've all had this for a couple of days, or at least today anyway. I'm not sure if we got to read the whole thing. Maybe just kind of give us a short synopsis of what the county said and where we ended up on Monday on our conference call.
Sure, I can do that. The board adopted a townwide moratorium back in January. That moratorium expires as of July 16th. The original local law provides for 2 3-month extensions of that townwide moratorium. The town board announced its intent to the Ulster County Planning Board about a month ago that it may have to extend the moratorium. There are four main things that the town board still has to do on the potential rezoning. That's a review of the public comments and recommendations from Ulster County, which came in yesterday. The secret review, you have to ultimately have a public hearing, and you ultimately have to make a final decision on the zoning changes. Ulster County came back and said that if you do extend the moratorium, then it would be a good idea to narrow the scope of the moratorium to cover only those uses that are addressed as part of local law 2020. So after talking with you, Fred, and other board members, the consensus was that that seemed to make sense. So this proposed resolution, which introduces the local law that the board will act on at its July 15th meeting, proposes to extend the moratorium for all continuing care retirement communities, as well as all uses in the highway business district in the town. But the balance of the town would no longer be subject to the moratorium after the effectiveness of this local law.
Okay, before we have discussion, could I have a motion on the resolution, please?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second, discussion? There may not be one because I think we went over this in some length on Monday. Is there no discussion from the board? Wendy, roll call?
Roll call, Pizzuto,
Yes.
Mazzetti,
Yes.
Winslow,
Yes.
Guerrero,
Yes.
Akmoody.
Yes.
5-0, so carried.
So that public hearing will be the 15th at 7 p.m. Wendy will connect with you tomorrow morning on the notice requirements and the 10 days. I saw your email just before this, so let's connect after this.
Okay, very good.
And yeah, I saw the notices. I'm sure you sent them to the Wendy also. I'll talk with her in the morning.
Thank you both.
Okay, thank you. Let's see, reports. I've sent out, where's my copy? Well, I'm just grab my stack. I sent out copies of the respective reports. I'll just walk through them briefly. Bear with me. They're upside down. We have the dog control report. I don't believe Andrew's on the call. Police report that for tonight, the chief is on vacation. He can certainly update us on our report at our regular meeting. Finance, Sadie. Sadie, you're on. I'll give her a little bit. We can go back. She's
here. She's here, Freddie.
Okay, Sadie, you're bring us update with finance, please.
Okay. Kendra Minard started this week, or last week, sorry. She's replacing Ann Desbian. Ann has been training Kendra on all the duties she's taking over. I just want to thank Ann for her time with the town of Lloyd. She was great and helped me during my first 6 months here, and I'll miss her deeply. But Kendra is proving to be a great asset, so I hope everything can go smoother in the future. We received our draft 2019 AUD report. Today, Fred and I met with the accountants to go over it. We're still trying to just understand the report. I'm going to have to post some adjusting journal entries, and hopefully we'll get that done soon. As soon as I can do that and tie out to our trial balance, they will submit it to the state. Just an update on payroll. I worked with the new payroll company to get all the payroll journal entries for the first 7 pay periods with them. I started entering them into our current system, and I'm working with RVA to create an import so the journal entries don't take as much time. And then the accountants are helping me to tie out those entries with the trial balance as well. So we're moving forward with payroll, which is nice. That's all I have.
Sadie, it's Gentleman's Day. I have a quick question for you. So I'm a little concerned about Benetech living up to their responsibilities. That's the company we hired, for those of you out there in the audience, to take care of our automatic payroll. The reports, they're supposed to be supplying you with them up-to-date reports, and I'm hearing that you're not receiving the information either at all or in a timely fashion. Is that correct?
That's correct. We just received all the journal entries probably last week or the week before, and I had to comb through them all myself and manually check them all to make sure they were accurate. They're still not completely jiving with what we used to have in the old system, so it's definitely still a major work in progress.
Are we paying them for them to do this work, or are you supposed to be doing this task that you're doing right now?
That's a great question. I honestly don't know the answer. They are supplying me with reports. I've had to give them tons of information so that their reports meet my standards. I think it's just a matter of giving them the correct information, so in the future it won't be so difficult to do. I think the transition period has just been rough since I came in with no knowledge and no one to, lead me in the right direction. So it's definitely starting from scratch here.
Mr. Supervisor, and I know you don't have this in front of you right now, but could you look at the contract with Benetech and see exactly what they're supposed to be supplying us with and when? Because if they're not living up to their end of the bargain, they should really be held accountable, because we are paying them for this service and they are contracted.
Sadie's off tomorrow. On Monday, Tuesday, we'll pull the contract and Sadie and I'll go over it.
Right. And then Sadie, if they are, and there's some type of PD you need, Mr. Supervisor, can we find out if there's something we can send her to assist her in making this process a little easier, give her some support?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Sure. Sadie, thank you.
Thank you.
Budget. Margaret?
Budget, looking at the supervisor's report, we are still in very good shape. 6 months in, and we are at about 33% of the budget.
Okay. Annie Center report in for the assessor. Dave, building and zoning.
Okay, my secretary sent around the monthly report. The numbers are much, much higher than I anticipated. About $30,000 in the last month. 15,000 of that was recreation fees. Obviously, that follows the last month, which was in the beginning very slow, and now is picking up a little more dramatically than we anticipated. So that's great for us in the town and those people who are have the jobs working. So that's a win. Right now, we just cut the hole in the wall. If anybody passes through the town hall, you'll see that there's a hole in the wall where the old police department window used to be. We're putting that back as part of our COVID modification of the building. Freddie's been working with us to kind of get that straight and together. So the glass people came in on Monday for downstairs for Wendy, Annie's office. The clerk's office and the assessor's office, they are giving us a quote for upstairs. So that piece of the puzzle is coming along. Anthony took the box out of the window today. So we're well prepared to kind of replace that with some sort of screen so the public can finally get back in the town hall. I don't have much else. Planning and zoning has not really slowed down. We obviously we're still not doing any commercial work. I've not heard from the villages on their new submission, although I expect that today now. And that's where we're at. That's all I got, Freddie.
Dave, it's Mazzetti, and I'm not trying to put you on a spot, but I just want to ask you a quick question. You may or may not know the answer. It's okay
I'll try.
if you don't. The Villages, approximately how many bedrooms are they putting in there?
So the patient rooms, I don't know the number off the top of my head. I want to say it's 130 something.
So on our rec fees, would they have to pay that on each room because it's based on an individual?
Yeah, so typically not in a nursing home. They wouldn't pay. The rec fees are designed as an impact fee for recreation. So the assumption, and I'm going to defer to the attorneys on this, but the assumption is that they're actually adding impact to our recreational facilities that we would use capital money to improve. I'm going to go ahead and guess that very, very few of the people in those nursing homes will be using our facilities.
So, but it's an assisted living, not a nursing home, or is that one and the same?
This is an assisted living / nursing home. This is a memory care unit. The people in the memory care unit will not be leaving the building at all.
But the other end of the assisted living would be.
Yeah, my sense is it's a higher level of nursing care. It's more like the one on Vineyard Avenue than it is sort of the one across the street from Town Hall. So it's a higher level of care. That's my understanding. We can unpack that later, but it's the people who reside there will not have cars.
Right, and I'm not looking for an answer. I'm just curious if they would have to pay, because theoretically, if it's an assisted living, not the memory care, I understand memory care, they could be going to the parks or going to those. So would they have to pay that?
Yeah, so we'll unpack that as we go, I guess.
Okay, thanks.
All right. Yeah, you're very good.
Dave, can I ask a question?
Of course.
Now that we're on that same line, had they done the housing portion of it, would those small cottage houses have had to pay the recreation fees?
They would have had to pay the yes. All those cottages would have. Those are independent, so active seniors we call them, like we do for Vineyard Commons. They would have had to pay the rec fees. Yes.
Thank you.
Fred.
Thanks, Dave. In deference to Richie was trying to call in, but Lenny beat him to it. So we'll work on that. As I mentioned, the chief is on vacation. He'll give us a report at our regular meeting. Frank, are you on? Seeing not, I did get a report that I sent out to you on from Waterfront from Tom Palazzo. I'm sorry, not Tom Palazzo. I'm sorry. I got a report from Frank, and it pretty much identifies what they got going on from for the July, what they've done up to speed. It's pretty definitive in its entirety. Wendy, do you have? Are you ready for your report?
Sure. I really don't have much. Nothing has really changed. Like Dave said, the glass fitter came in to measure for our new windows. I am going to start doing marriage licenses again using the sneeze shield. Still doing notaries, and our DEC program is down. They're going over to a new program, so we are unable to do fishing licenses at this time. But that's about it. Everything's pretty much status quo.
Okay, thank you very much, Wendy. Adam, are you on?
Good evening.
It's all yours, Adam.
Yes, hello? All right, thank you.
Yes.
All right, perfect. Yeah, because sometimes you guys beep in and beep out. I can't tell if I'm on, and then sometimes I can't hear you.
You're on.
So anyway, good. All right, thanks. Good evening. Adam Littman, Administrator for Town of Lloyd Water and Sewer. So as far as the June progress report, I will start with water as always. So pretty much with the the decreased amount of precipitation, some of the reservoirs have become depleted. This is normal. Reservoirs 1 and 2 have been drained into reservoir number 4. Reservoir is remaining at a quarter capacity. 5 is still at 3/4 full because that is also the recreation side. Blended reservoir and river water was making up approximately 90% of daily production until the 25th of June. June 26th, we began to run full river water. The wells were providing the remaining 10% of daily production. Our daily production time has been varying between 12 and 14 hours per day. Moving on to the road crew, and something else I had discussed before, the gas line installation work on 4455 Vineyard Avenue, plus some of the new construction projects that are still creating the need for many utility markouts. There's three people in that department currently participating in utility markouts. The construction sites for the AutoZone and the Highland Apartments behind Dollar General completed their water taps. CLP, which is the town's engineer, did the inspection on the tap for the 10-inch water main for the Highland Apartments. Myself and Dave Campala were also present. Dave and I were also on site for the inspection for the 1-inch tap for the AutoZone water service as well. That department's also been doing the usual housekeeping, mowing, weed whacking around the water and sewer pump stations, up around the standpipes, reservoirs. So they've been pretty busy. Sewer department, the activities there at this time of the year change. Operations tend to be a bit challenging in the summer months. Our water temperature climbs, our organics increase, so we are making adjustments to daily ops in order to stay in compliance. So that's really all I have to report. Does anybody have any questions?
Adam, what about the,
yes.
The water tower? Oh, you forgot about
Mike, yep. I am glad you asked. So just as an update, the company was on site. They did the inspection where they go into the tank with a submersible robot. They did the inspection. They did make a repair to the tank. I have requested in writing for an inspection report. I was notified that as soon as it's done, it will be in my hands and then in yours. As of right now, the repair that's done is not leaking, so I am happy with that. And as soon as I get the information, I'll pass it on to you and everybody else.
Yeah, I want to thank you for keeping us all informed every step of the way with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad. It seems like it was just a minor repair. Thank God.
Yeah, well, we wanted to prevent a minor repair from becoming a major repair. That's why we were all proactive in it. So, like I said, as soon as I get some type of an inspection report, I will pass it on. Are there any other questions for anybody else?
Thank you, Adam.
No? All right, you're welcome, Mike. You have a good night. All right,
thank you.
Take care.
Freddie, I think Richie's on.
Oh, Richie, are you there?
Can you hear me?
We can now.
Yes, Richie, you're totally backlit.
I can't help that.
That's okay. You're up, Rich.
All right. We got most of our paving almost done. We got a little bit more to do on the shoulders and stuff. Looking to pave maybe one or two more roads. That's about it. I've been trying to keep up. We're way behind because of the COVID. So we're just trying to catch up. Most of the guys are starting vacation now. So that's even hurting more. Shared services is hurting us. That's about it. Two of our new trucks came in. I hope in another month or two, the other two will be in. That's about it.
Thanks, Rich.
Thank you, Rich. I just have a few things on supervisor's report. Dave and I are working on how we can hopefully have our next regular meeting here. It will not be open to the public. We only have by statute we can only have 25 people socially distanced. That gives us, like, the town board, Wendy and Sean, Dave, and maybe a couple of department heads, and leaves about wouldn't leave more than 5 or 6 people in the public. And although the town board is not open to the public yet, but it looks like we'll be able to do a combination of streaming the meeting, and then Dave as the administrator, and then Margaret on the computer will be able to take calls from the public. We'll hopefully this coming week, Dave and I can work this out, and we'll keep you all posted. but it'll be a welcome relief to have at least us together in one place at one time, rather than trying to hook us up electronically. I spoke with Steve Latino this week. Now that we're kind of back in the fighting zone, we have union contracts to discuss. I will be talking with him this coming week about that and keep you all informed. And the last thing we talked about at the last meeting, we're going to start to transition ourselves from the way we do business now with the vouchers. And apparently we at one point in time did the PO system. As you know or should know, as we transition back to that, there's the advantageous is for us in the town, and it puts the onus on the front end of the project instead of the back. So we will work forward with the PO process. That's all I have. Is there any old business to come before us tonight?
Supervisor, I would like to interrupt. Neil Curry from the ECC would like to speak.
So absolutely. Neil, you're on, it's yours.
Yeah, I just jumped in and I figured I would make a short update. So a few things going on. So public activities that we had planned for this year have pretty much all been canceled. But if COVID rates stay down, we might try to do something, outdoors, socially distanced later this fall on Black Creek. But otherwise, we've been continuing to work with New York Prism, which is a organization of a bunch of working on invasive species management. And there's a researcher that has a field crew that came out last year, and they're going to be working here the next couple of years on the Black Creek and Chautauqua Lake doing surveys for invasive species, and ultimately a goal to have a long-term management plan. It's something that the ECC has been working on for several years, pulling water chestnut. There's a couple of other invasives, so we'll try to manage that over the next couple of years. Black Creek access site, we've just been, monitoring to take a look at. We've got trees that we planted there about a year and a half ago that are doing well. But for the most part, users are keeping it really clean. We haven't really had to deal with that. The Longitano property, large parcel, I think 200 or 300 acres on the northwest side of Illinois Mountain, has been acquired by Scenic Hudson. And I'm going to be meeting with Scenic Hudson staff soon to walk the site and talk about possible public access, trails and amenities that they might do long term on that property. ECC's been involved for a long time with this John Burroughs Black Creek development that Scenic Hudson's been working on. And so for those that aren't familiar, real briefly, it's just a way to kind of connect and organize a bunch of outdoor recreation and connect it to the villages and the sort of economic centers of neighboring towns in Esopus and in Lloyd. And so part of that is part of the grants. One of the grants that they received to work on that has been to fund the connector between Illinois Mountain and the Hudson Valley Rail Trail. So Scenic Hudson staff, who's leading that up, Heather Blakey, is going to be coming to the next ECC meeting to talk about next steps. They're going to need help with the seeker for that, and the ECC will be working on that with them. And then finally, there's the new trail that has been developed on Illinois Mountain on the town property on the, I guess it would be, if I'm oriented correctly, be the west or the northern side of the access road. Way up at the top trail, which right now is the yellow trail, right by that access is this new trail that the Fats and the Cats Mountain Biking Club had marked out a while ago. They presented to the town maybe a year or two now. They've got that mapped out, and we've worked with them and Scenic Hudson on the route. And we're going to change a couple of things about the route to avoid some sensitive habitat. But the Fats and the Cats are on board with that, and Scenic Hudson's on board with that. And over the next, hopefully over this summer, they'll be building that trail. And then it'll be added to the maps that are posted out there so people know that that's available. It'll be hiking and biking.
Neil, thank you very much. Any questions for Neil? Seeing none, I go to new business. We have tonight for discussion purposes. In prior board meetings, prior years, there's been discussion about paid parking on Haviland Road. There's a proposed resolution for discussion purposes on the agenda. We can massage this and talk about it and eventually get ourselves to a public hearing. Tonight, I believe both Peter and Ray are on the call to discuss this. Peter or Ray, are you on? I'm getting crickets.
Peter's muted. Here comes Ray.
Hello?
Hi, Ray.
Ray, are you on?
Hey, you're on, Ray.
Trying. Do you hear me?
Yes, we do. You can, if you will, would you talk to us about the proposal for the paid parking?
Yes. Hi, everybody. Thanks for holding this meeting. The idea is to harvest the money that the potential for parking and to fund the rail trail so that the taxpayers don't have to do it. And that was the whole idea. The idea is the Hudson Valley Rail Trail realizes that it costs money to maintain this rail trail, and especially now that it's so long, and we've got a lot of mowing to do and upkeep and just look at that original section, how much it's going to cost just to repave it. So I think it's an opportunity to earn some money for the taxpayers and give back, so we don't have to charge the taxpayers. So the idea is to have a booth at the Haviland Road X entrance to the rail trail. If you notice that everywhere else, anybody could park, but if they want to get up and close and cozy, they need to pay to park there. So the agenda, so the proposal also configures so we can have annual permits. So in other words, our friends and partners from Marlboro and budding towns and Poughkeepsie that want to come over and use the convenient parking lot could buy a yearly permit, or they could pay the $5 every time they come, or they could buy the yearly permit. And it's the New York State has those yearly permits. There hasn't been a park or a venue that I've been to in the last 10 years where you pull in and you don't have to pay to park. So I don't think this is anything new that we're trying to reinvent. But I think it's a good opportunity to earn some money, and it's kind of an easy one to do because of these kiosks now are so user friendly, and everybody that I know that comes to these places could either tap their phone or use their credit card, or could have
Get in here. You get in here. All right.
Or they could have something on their phone. There's Waze, and there's all different apps that they could use. So, you talking to me?
Sorry, Ray, we're getting feedback. People unmute themselves. So you're all set. Go ahead.
All right. So if you go through the proposed law that we're trying to create, it spells it out pretty clearly that anybody could go any other parking lot that we have and walk to the event. The apparatus is going to cost almost with the software and everything close to maybe 15 grand, and the Hudson Valley Rail Trail has earned money through fundraisers over the years and wants to give back some of that money and pay back and pay forward, I guess you could say, and give amenity to the town of Lloyd so they could start using this. They also volunteered to monitor it for a year and use and have the checks and balances. This system is really unique where for the optional software, which we're willing to contribute, that the checks and balances are there, the fines and fees. And so how it works is, you go to the park, you pay your money, you put in your license plate number, and go for a walk and come back. And there's, like I say, apps on your phone where if you get stuck in Poughkeepsie and your pizza ain't done yet, or wherever you're eating in town, and oh man, I got to get back to my car, there's apps available that you could add hours to your parking. So now if you don't want to pay and you want to risk getting caught, well, then there's the app that we have where so that you could read the license plate, and it's a phone, and you go behind the car and you take a picture of the license plate. It's similar to those cameras that the police used to have on their cars. So as they're speeding by, they're reading rectangles, and the rectangle is the license plate. So the phone reads the license plate. It knows immediately if you're paid to park. It doesn't care where you're parking, if you're on the road or in a parking lot or anywhere on Haviland Road. If you haven't paid, it knows that you haven't paid, and the ticket meter maid is right there with the tickets on his belt. It's all printed out. There's a printer right there with him. The software says, hey, he's not allowed. You want to print a ticket? Yes. And it's printed, and all the information is captured. So the company that we're dealing with has an agreement with all the motor vehicle departments, and they know who you are, where you live, your address, and they'll send you a ticket and say, hey, listen, you owe for parking, and it's a $25 fine or whatever agree to. You could agree to pay for it right then and there. You could whip out your phone. Oh, I made a mistake. I forgot it. I didn't do it. Whatever excuse you come up with, you could go on your phone and you could pay for it right then and there. You could pay for it with a credit card, like on your phone. You can mail in the money. Or if you want to contest it, like any other law, you have to have the right to ask for relief. So they have to have a way to appeal this decision. So you could you could go to our court system and appeal the decision. You could cry the blues to the supervisor and come in. You could come in and pay cash if you want to. There's all easy ways to pay, and I think this is something that we, naturally, I think we should do it. But I think it's really, really simple. The town of Lloyd residents are being asked to pay more and more stuff nowadays. So I think we could exempt with the software program that we're proposing. We could exempt any town of Lloyd resident. The town of Lloyd resident must come in and prove that they're a resident and they live in the town of Lloyd, and they would get registered in the software program, and they would submit their license plate that they're going to use to park there for free. And when the meter guy comes along, and there's going to be a ticket or sticker in the back window. So the guy that's the meter man or lady that's going up and down the parking lot sees a sticker, and they're not even going to bother taking a picture of the license plate. Again, we're proposing maybe $80 a year for a yearly permit for somebody from a budding town that wants to buy a yearly permit, or anywhere that you frequent enough, they might want to donate the $80. They're not prorated because, we try to think about, I only use it 3 months in the summer, so I could buy a yearly permit for $20. Well, no, that's not right. So it's $80 for the yearly permit. And we talked about whether we should include the Highland Central School District or not, and I wasn't sure because we have some residents that live in the Clintondale area that pay Highland school tax, But they live in Clintondale, but they also go to the Highland School District. But they're also, our school district goes all the way up to Port Ewan. So I'm not sure if we want to include Town of Lloyd school taxpayers in there or not. So that's something that the town board could decide. We don't need a uniformed officer to give out these tickets. The Town of Lloyd could deputize anybody. And like New Paltz, is the village of New Paltz, they hire some part-timers. I think they pay them $15 an hour, and they'll have to think about when the key times are to go there. They don't have to camp out there 24/7. They don't have to be there 7 days a week. There might be some key times and surprise visits to when they're going to go check to reap the harvest here, and I'm trying to think of something else that we could talk about.
Ray,
or
can I ask you
benefit.
a question?
Excuse me?
Hey, Ray, it's Wendy.
Hi. Hi.
Hi. I'm sort of familiar with this whole thing. So where would they pay, if they get a ticket, they pay it back to the town clerk?
If they wanted to come in cash, they could pay the town clerk, yeah. Or they could pay it online, and
that would be monies that would go through the clerk's office? Like
it would go through, yes, and
Okay.
then you would send it to the Hudson Valley Rail Trail reserve account.
Right.
So then we'll be using that reserve account for future development, maintenance, whatever else the town board wants to use that money, as long as it's rail trail specific, so that the money is spent on the rail trail.
Okay.
And offset.
Ray, quick questions, Claire. How are you? And welcome back.
Hi, thanks.
So the other thing is, I sent a note to Pete. It's a good question for everybody to understand. So your meter maids will be coming out of that money that comes out of the parking? Right?
Yes, absolutely, sure, because we'll
There
have.
you are.
There we are. I didn't push the button. So we're upstate. We're upstate now. So we drove a couple of days, and we're coming up here. So
Welcome back.
thank you. COVID free still, so that's good. Yep. Nice to see you, all those faces. We miss being here. It was a long 8 months, let me tell you.
Yeah.
All right, so get back to our restaurant. Yeah, I think the money needs to go there. That's what we're proposing, and I think we all agree that there won't be things that there's plenty of things that we could find to spend the money on. I'm sure. There's parking lots upgrade. We want to pave that parking lot where the 101 New Paltz Road parking lot could be paved. There's other amenities that we could use and build. I don't know. Any other questions? Oh, I know what. So Wendy, so people would have to register with the town clerk that know that they're taxpayers of town of Lloyd or residents of the town of Lloyd. You don't have to be a taxpayer. You just have to be a resident. If you're residing here and renting from somebody that's paying taxes, well, it's the same thing. So as long as you're a resident of town of Lloyd.
So we do like a hang tag like we do for transfer station,
Yes. Yeah.
whatever it is you want.
Yeah. So
It's easy.
the stickers would be in the rear window so that we could see the license plate in the back. And of course, a lot of these cars from out of state don't have license plates in the front. So we figured that the rear, there's always a license plate in the back for us, for meter man to read. We didn't want expensive police officers doing this. I think that would defeat the purpose. So we checked with different towns and cities that have this Flowbird that we're proposing. There's three or four different companies that we interviewed and looked at, and some of them freeze up, some of them you can't read, some of them they're glare there's all kinds of different problems, and the one we pick is nobody has an issue with it, and they're ripping like Lake Placid where it gets really cold. They're taking all ours out and using the one that we're proposing. So,
which one is it, Ray?
it's called Flowbird.
Okay.
Yeah, and Peter has all the information on it. It's the ones we looked before. If you've seen any of the drawings, they changed the name, but they didn't change the look and style. The company is merged with somebody else, and now they call it Flowbird.
Ray?
Yes?
Ray, it's Freddie. Would you like a couple of volunteers from the town board to work with Peter and you for some continuity?
Sure. Sure, of course. Yeah, the more the merrier.
I make just a quick comment?
Yep.
So the parking meter, it's Wi-Fi, it's solar, there's no electricity to it. You can, with this program, you can be anywhere and pay your fine. You don't have your parking ticket. You don't have to go to the kiosk if you don't want. If you have the app online, I could sit here in Highland and pay for one in Cold Spring if I wanted. So it brings up the meter wherever you are. And so if people are on the 100 parking lot, you don't have to walk to the kiosk unless you want to put a credit card in. But I have my 3 vehicles registered with the plate, and just pick your vehicle and pay your thing. It notifies you. We have the ability to put ad on the receipt. You know, if you go downtown and you spend so much money in the business, then you can get your parking back. You know, the whole idea is to help the rail trail and bring people downtown, because people that are parking in those lots making a stage right across the bridge and maybe buy gas here or something. We're always trying to get them downtown, and that's a tough thing to do.
That's a good point, Peter. So if there's free parking in the closer ones to the hamlet, they might be able to get to the hamlet easier than just beelining it for Haviland Road. So also, you know, we included everything on Haviland Road because we don't know what we're going to develop in the future. There's wide shoulders. There's places where we can widen the shoulder to increase parking and to increase revenues. There's the turnaround parking lot. There's all the parking on Haviland Road is in the package, and it's all 24/7. So when there's events at night going on, they still have to pay to park unless one of these items, one of these paragraphs talks about special events. If somebody comes in and says, "Hey, we're doing a fundraiser, we're working with the Rail Trail Association, we want to do a joint venture, we want to do something," and then there could be a flat fee, like the Rail Trail used to charge, or it could be exempt, or there's all these different options. And I wanted to make sure that the Rail Trail Association, the town board, had the ability to modify or adjust in case that somebody wanted to have a special event or a fundraiser and didn't want to play, or just want to have a blanket approval, or for a smaller donation instead of everybody fumbling to try to pay the park. So we gave that option. It's one of those options in here. You know, I don't know what else, any other questions you have? I know I've gone through it. Some of the therefores might be moved around a little bit because it talks about start up to free parking, and then it goes to the paid parking, and then if you want a free park, well, then you got to get a permit. So maybe we can move a couple of those therefores and just get them more in sequence, and maybe just a little bit more explanation of what that meant, what we're talking about for each time. So that was the only thing. And my last comment was to note harvest the money. So I don't think we need to put that in there. I mean, that was my my funny thing I added, note, hey, let's harvest some money.
You must have an old one so that we took it out.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of people parking. There could be, I mean, we don't know how much we're gonna harvest. We don't know how much we're gonna get. But just counting the parking spaces, if they turn over twice a day, yada, yada, everybody pays $5. I mean, this could be 60,000, 70,000, a year, and more. So, I think it's something that, we shouldn't pass up. I don't think,
It's a great idea, Ray.
anybody that, would object, any that's getting a free ticket, any taxpayer or resident of town Lloyd would object to this. So we got to make
I think it's a great idea. I've been speaking with Peter about this. I think it's been talked about for a while. I think now it's time to get going, get the ball rolling, and between the couple of members from the town board and you guys, we can move this forward and try to get together next couple of months with a resolution that we can live with. So thank you for this presentation.
So do we have to create a law to pay to park? Do we have to create a new law to do this, or is it just a resolution saying we could do it?
I think we can do it by resolution, Ray.
Okay. All right.
I'll confirm that, but that's the way I read it. I think so.
Okay.
Thank you, Sean.
So can we do it at the next town board meeting?
Well, I think the answer is we can do it as soon as we can sit down and come together with a resolution that works for everybody, and it can be as quick as we can do it. And if it's not the next town board meeting, hopefully we can do it by the next regular meeting in August. It'll go as fast as it can go.
Okay, thanks, Fred.
I just have a quick comment on that. So we can start the discussion with the companies, because they're going to have to come up with a new price because it's 2 years old already. So we can start that. It's not committing to buying it, but we can start that process.
I think that'd be great.
Yeah, this resolution, if nobody has anything glaring, like I said, I think there's a couple therefores that we could move around and adjust. I mean, we could do that in a week and all agree and just transfer it. So it could be moved as quick as you want to move.
Okay.
So.
This is Lenny. I have one question.
Yes, Lenny.
All right. On Haviland Road, we have Johnson Iorio Park. We also have an ice cream store and a pizzeria. You're saying you want to take something along all of Haviland Road. I think consideration be looked at. That's it.
Thanks.
He came in jumbled up. Could somebody repeat what he said?
I know what
So what he said, Ray, is he's concerned about the frozen caboose and he's concerned about Johnson Iorio, but I think that you would probably not go as far, right?
Well, I think it says it stops at the entrance to Johnson Iorio. I mean, the original one the original one I sent was stops at Johnson Iorio. It does not include Johnson Iorio. Lenny, it does not include Johnson Iorio, and it starts after the frozen caboose.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we can move it forward from a discussion standpoint and see if we can get this up and going.
Okay.
Anybody have any comments or questions for Ray?
So Ray, there'd be parking on both sides of Haviland Road?
No.
It says along and adjacent.
That could be potential, Mike.
Okay.
I just wanted to make sure that the wording was there now, so we don't have to redo this next time. It says it's anywheres on Haviland Road after the frozen caboose and before Johnson Iorio, anywhere that we own property, and that where there's a actual parking spot, whether it's developed now or in the future.
Okay, because I assumed that it was going to be parallel parking on both sides of Haviland Road, and I was just wondering if that would make the road too narrow. I'm just thinking about it.
Well, we wouldn't be parking on the road. It would have to develop the shoulders. Yeah, we don't want a bottleneck. We don't want parking on the road at all. So if we could develop off the pavement in the shoulders, improved shoulders that'll accommodate a car off the highway, so we have two-way traffic at all times. That's what we're proposing. Nothing on the road itself.
And Ray, I think with that, we could probably include the highway department and the police department, which would then satisfy all that.
Yeah, they don't want it blocked.
And I believe there's no parking, although I could not find a resolution, there's no parking on the south side of Haviland Road at this time, correct?
I believe that's correct, Andy.
Correct. Yeah. One of the other towns was looking for that information because they have kind of sort of the same situation that we do. And I couldn't find a resolution, but I know that that was one of the things that we said, that there's no parking on the south side of Haviland Road.
There are no parking signs on, and we would put more. There's one spot where you can pull in to get 7, 8 cars, but the rest of it on the south side, except for 100 lot.
There is no parking on that, but I don't know that we have I don't know that we need one, that we had a resolution for that.
So the south side of Haviland the parking hasn't been developed. There's that spot that Peter's talking about, the north side, where you can get 7, 8 cars. That's already developed.
South side also?
No, we just dropped off. I didn't do anything.
Across from our exit, there's.
And I got plenty of battery.
Yeah. So,
side.
but if we could develop parking on the south side and keep the cars off the road, then we could take down the no parking signs. We don't want cars parked one wheel on, one wheel off, thinking that they're in compliance by just half on, half off, and then the other side road half on, half off. So now we've only got one lane.
Right.
It's got to be developed where they could get safely off the highway.
Correct.
Okay.
Well, good. I think we got plenty of work to do.
Yeah. All right. Good discussion.
Ray, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Ray.
You're welcome.
Okay. Wendy, motions and resolutions. You want to read resolution A?
Let's do privilege of the floor because I believe somebody has a question.
Sorry. Back up. Privilege of the floor.
Yes. Hi, this is Crystal Hammond.
Yes.
Yes. So it's been several weeks since I wrote the letter, and you acknowledged that you received it and that you gave it to the town's lawyer to look over. You didn't bring it up during the last meeting, and I wanted to know where we stand with that, because it seems like it's been just brushed under the rug at this point. And considering that, the meetings can continue to be quite aggressive verbally, and with the outburst and continued heckling and insulting of one of the councilmen of the board, I find that quite disturbing and quite embarrassing if there's anyone that wants to move to Highland and have to hear the dysfunction of a town board member. So my question is I would like to know where we stand with the letter that I wrote, because I haven't heard anything, and silence tells me that it's acceptable, and I would like clarification on that.
Is that addressed to me?
Yes.
I will check with Sean and see where we're at with that. And,
okay, you said that last time.
Pardon me?
You said that last time. I don't think it's funny, Claire.
Oh, excuse me. Please direct your questions to me.
Well, she's laughing.
Listen to me. Please direct your questions to me. We're having an extremely civil meeting tonight, and I'd like to keep it like that. So,
well, you know what? I'm having a civil meeting trying to discuss something public with you that you could have addressed privately. But since you didn't, I have to address it publicly. And she's heckling and laughing at me, and I don't appreciate it.
I don't see anybody heckling or laughing.
All right, you know what? So, you know what? She did it. If anyone else saw it, you should speak up, because that's wrong. She's still doing it. So she's inappropriate. Okay? And I would like to have what I wrote in that letter addressed. And if you would like, I can remind you publicly what I wrote in that letter. Would you like that? Probably not, because I don't think you want the town to know, the taxpayers to know exactly what happened there. And don't roll your eyes at me, please. You're inappropriate yourself, Mr. Supervisor.
Here we go. Just cut her off.
See, this is the behavior of your town. You cannot control them.
So my job to control them. We all have one vote and we're all independently elected. I don't get to control anybody but myself.
Official, and I had a conversation on Facebook.
Well, then, excuse me, Claire, I'm a taxpayer and I'm speaking.
Dave.
Bye.
You, Claire.
Dave.
Yes.
Mute. I need a mute.
You, Claire.
I'm an elected official to town board meeting. So go to the polls the next time. I don't know what to tell you.
Enough. I'm not going there tonight. We're done. I'll talk to Sean and I'll have Sean reply. Anything else? Motions and resolutions. Wendy, please.
Okay. Resolution A, to amend the Town of Lloyd transfer station hours effective 7/10 from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Fridays, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Saturdays, and 9 to 3 on Sundays, to the new hours of 8 to 4 Friday, Saturday, and Sundays. Motion.
Is there a motion? Do we have a motion?
Yes, motion.
Second?
I guess I'll give it a second.
Discussion.
Okay.
I know that it used to be opened on, when I was a kid, like Wednesdays, Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays. Then it moved just to Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Why are we going back to the Friday?
We've had Friday for a while, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. They just had staggering hours, and they're going to change them to the same hours all 3 days. As far as the days of the week, you'll need to discuss that with Richie Potts.
Okay, so we've had the Friday for a while?
Oh, yes, many years.
So I just wanted to make sure we were budgeted for it and we could afford the Friday, that's all.
Yeah, we've been doing, so we were open Fridays from 8 to 3, Saturdays from 8 to 4, and Sundays from 9 to 3. They're just trying to make the hours consistent, that all 3 days are from 8 to 4.
Fine.
They're not changing how many days, they're just changing the hours so they're consistent.
Thank you for the clarity.
You're welcome.
Freddie, it's Dave Barton. Someone had a question during the privilege of the floor.
Okay. I'll back up.
Layla, are you there?
It's Layla Catabal. How are you?
Good.
Layla, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. Thank you for allowing me to speak. I figured I'd pop in. I know that I did send an email to the majority of you regarding Berrien Park, and I appreciate 2 of you actually visiting the park and checking out what was going on up there. I don't know if you got the email. I'm not sure. I only heard from Joe. And again, thank you for, responding right away. Basically, I have a huge concern, and this is not the first time I've approached the board about it. I really believe that there should be some type of entry fee. I know there has been in the past. I've been going there for a long time. But like I had mentioned in the email, I really truly believe that we need to have, and it's funny that you guys were talking all about the parking and, you have to come in and say, you're part of Highland and you have the proof and, you have the sticker on the car. I believe that we should be doing that at the reservoir. And this is a long time coming. So my question is, I'm just wondering why we're not addressing this.
Well, Layla, I apologize for not getting back to you. I've had a busy week, but I did want to get back to you because I agree that on the vote, I really felt like it should be residents only because right now during COVID, I feel like there's not a lot of things for people to do, and it's really nice to keep the park just for our town. So. I was outvoted. They agreed to let 2 guests come with a resident. which I understand that too, but I feel like just during this time, it should just be residents only. I just do. So, and
Yeah,
that's.
no, I understand that completely. But my concern is that this has been going on for like, I came to a board meeting and I looked, it was like 5 years ago that I came in and I addressed this with the town. I actually went in and I said, listen, we have people coming that aren't Highland residents, which, you know what, it's fine. But there comes a point where we kind of have to take our park back. It's a beautiful park. And there are so many families in this town that don't go there because there's just interesting things going on that I'd rather not talk about.
So I would like to comment on this. So Mike and I actually got your complaint and we read it, and you first called me.
Right.
And this is Layla, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you first called me, and then I called you back. We discussed it, and then I called Frank up, Alfonso, who's our director, and he contacted you. Then you sent an email to me, and I sent that to the entire board. I then went to the park, and Councilman Guerrero went with me, and we wanted to see firsthand what was going on. And they showed us the whole process. They showed us the entire park. The park, I have to say, looks fantastic. It's probably the best I can ever remember it looking. As for the procedure, they have a table set up that they were checking IDs. We verified them that they're not letting non-town residents in, and they verified that that is correct. They did mention to us that they would allow 2 people with a town resident, and that they hadn't had any issues with any of the guests that had come. They did have an issue with the people that you're referring to, which in fact turned out to be town residents. Because I guess on Facebook there was a lot of things being mentioned about non-residents causing a lot of commotion. It was addressed. These individuals were actually given 2 warnings, and on the 3rd warning, they were banned from the park for the entire year, and the police were notified with their names that if they come back, they will be prosecuted for trespassing. I don't like that had to happen. I feel bad for the little kids, but unfortunately that their behaviors warranted that. Another comment was made that there's young kids policing the park. And I verified with Frank, I'm like, I don't really want our 16-year-olds policing. And what I found out is that they have a park director that's there every day till 5. When he's not there, there is another adult between the age of 22 and 25 that take care of it. The police are ready, willing, and able to come if they're notified. And, I think we're really running a quality program. We're really trying to do what's best. Yes.
I agree with you. I think
and
the
I think it's
lifeguards are
unfortunate.
fantastic.
I think it's unfortunate, and people need to be polite. People need to social distance, and I think our park's doing a great service. I also believe that all of your concerns were addressed, and that if things continue to happen, please contact any of the board members. I know each and every one of us wants what's best and are proud of that park, but to say this and that, we worked hard on it. We are really trying to make a difference. And as for a guest, listen, if somebody's in-laws are visiting and they want to go to the park because they don't have a pool at their home, or they live in an area that they don't have a very big backyard and they want to barbecue. We saw many people barbecuing. They should be able to bring their in-laws.
I totally agree with you. I agree with you.
To say that no one can bring a guest, I think is ridiculous.
No. That's not what I'm trying to say. That's not what I'm trying to say. I want to make it clear though. My issue has nothing to do with people bringing in guests. It's the fact that there are people that are coming in that are not Highland residents year after year. Year after year. I've been dealing with this for over 10 years now. And 5 years ago, I came into the town board meeting and addressed it, and it wasn't addressed. My question is, why do we not have, just like the transfer station, why do we not have stickers, bracelets, whatever you're going to get? You pay as a resident for a sticker, and you come in and you park, and you're all set. If you have guests, you get passes for those guests. You get a
Yeah.
number of passes for the
Le-
season.
Layla, I can address that.
Thank you.
They do have a non-resident fee, which is much higher than the local resident fee. This year, they're not opening the concession stand, so they're only allowing, and that's who used to kind of monitor that. This year, they're only allowing residents, but they are set up for non-resident fees so that non-residents do pay more. Just
And,
right.
Just so this year.
Excuse me.
Go ahead, Mike.
Could I just, Lila, we were up there Saturday and we spoke to Tom Palazzo, and he's a teacher. He's a 46-year-old man, and he knows how to handle kids. I mean, he's very qualified. He's there all the time. So.
Right.
So
No, and I
seems like
understand that. And like I said, I've been going there for over 10 years. He taught my kids how to swim, so I know Tom very well.
Okay.
But what I'm trying to get at is we also have the issue of Tom, maybe he's not there. There's people coming in causing chaos, and these lifeguards have to come off their stand and go deal with that. These lifeguards are teenagers. They shouldn't have that on their back. These lifeguards are doing an outstanding job. I have to tell you right now, they're all fantastic kids, and they should not have to deal with that.
So, Layla, I think that the real issue is that this year we are actually doing what you want. What the park isn't open to non-residents. I think we need to see how this year plays out, and we'll look at data to see if there were less incidents or complaints than the following years. And maybe moving forward, I'm saying maybe, I'm not saying definitely, maybe that's something with the park director, Mr. Alfonso, and the board. Maybe we consider next year not opening it. Let's see how this year turns out. This is the first year we haven't opened it. I don't really, I like the idea of people being able to enjoy our community and seeing how wonderful it is and maybe choosing to live here. But let's see how it turns out this year.
Yeah, and listen, I just want to reiterate, I really think that the park is a really great place to be. I don't want to close it off to anyone. I'm just saying, why can't we have tickets or bracelets or something like that for town residents? And then if you want to bring in someone, just like so many of these other towns around do, when I have a Mohonk Preserve Pass, for example, I pay a yearly fee. I go there with my car and they have to check and make sure that I have the pass. If I want to bring somebody with me from out of town, I can do that. I just feel like it would be very beneficial to our community. That's all.
And that's what they have done in the past years. They have passes, day passes, resident passes, non-resident passes. That's what they have done in years, and they have these little tickets. This year it's different. They're just only doing check IDs and only town residents. But in the past years, that is what they have done.
Yeah, well, I know, I understand that, but I just feel like it needs to be, a little more, addressed at the gate, because no one's sitting at the gate.
Yeah.
People are just coming in, they're parking all the way down at the bottom and they're all coming in. Some people are fishing, which they're not supposed to be doing, I guess. I don't know. I have no idea. That's not my issue, but it is what it is. I mean, I said my piece.
We'll discuss this with the recreation director and address it all. Right?
Okay. Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for your input.
Thank you.
Fred, there's another question from the floor.
Oops, sorry.
Go ahead, Dave.
Susan, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Go ahead.
I got it. This is really not a question, it's just a comment. Something has bothered me for a while. Every time we've had a meeting and I've heard the same situation, back to the, villages. I've heard assisted living and I've heard nursing home, but the assisted living has come out of Mr. John Hurst's or first his mouth, but assisted living comes out of his, but nursing home seems to come out of other people on the board. I'm going to ask that at the next meeting, the next public meeting, can you clarify which it is? Because there's a great difference on how much population is going to be in and out of that location if it's a nursing home as opposed to an assisted living. A nursing home needs to have a medical facility, or medical people on board, whereas an assisted living does not. And I understand that there's the scenario of mentally incapacitated individuals, diminished and with
Memory care.
Alzheimer's and that type of thing. And that I understand. Of course, they'd have to have some sort of, medical supervision. But I think it needs to really be clarified because I've heard it over and over at every meeting. Some people say nursing home, some people say assisted living. The attorney always says assisted living. And I think that needs to really be clarified and explained at the next meeting so people really know what it's going to entail and perhaps what the definition is of either one of them so that people do know what's going on with that. Okay? I don't have any questions. That was my comment. I thought needed to be said. Of course. Thank you.
Thanks, Susan.
You're welcome.
Dave, anybody else?
Give me 1 second. I'm just checking. I do not see any other hands raised, and no one has chatted me. Nope, I think you're good to go. Sorry.
Thank you very much. Wendy, back to resolution A, please.
So resolution A, so we had a motion by Winslow and second, by Guerrero. Do I have
Yes.
a roll call?
Mazzetti, yes.
Winslow, yes. Where's Lenny?
Guerrero, yes.
Yes, for Lenny.
Thank you.
5-0.
Okay. Resolution B, to grant a leave of absence for a period of 1 year for John D. Valentino, transfer station operator, effective 6/14/20, at the recommendation of Rich Klotz, highway superintendent.
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Is that a paid leave?
Unpaid.
Okay. Can we reflect that in a minute in the resolution?
We certainly can.
Sure. Yep.
Margaret will make that a change and give it to Wendy. So on with that affected that it's an unpaid leave on the resolution, Wendy, roll call.
Pizzuto,
Yes.
Winslow,
Yes.
Mazzetti,
Yes.
Guerrero,
Yes.
Moody.
Yes.
Thank you. Resolution to accept the resignation of Brandon Parker, transfer station attendant, effective July 5th, at the recommendation of Rich Klotz, highway superintendent.
Motion.
Motion, second.
And roll call.
Aye.
Mazzetti, yes.
Do I have 5 ayes?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
5-0.
You're welcome.
Resolution to appoint Brandon Parker as temporary transfer station operator at the base rate of $20.09, effective July 5th, at the recommendation of Rich Klotz, highway superintendent.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Discussion.
Any discussion?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Let me just go back.
So he's
So
resigning.
Brandon, I just want to get something. So Brandon resigned from his other position to take this temporary position. What happens when Mr. Di Valentino comes back to Brandon? Does he go back to, because we really want to make sure, what happens to him?
Well, I believe that's why when Richie gave this to us from Denise, that's why it says temporary. In the event that John does come back, everything starts to go backwards.
Well, it doesn't say that. So can we add the wording that Mr. Parker will be reassigned to another department? Because I don't want it to be that he's out of a job.
Well, he was the assistant there for John.
So then can we put that would return to his assistant's position?
Yeah, Joe, we can do that. I'll have Margaret put something in effect that upon
John's return.
if in fact upon John's return, then Brandon would go back to his original position. We can do that.
Yeah, I just don't want, something happens and the guy's out there in the cold.
Understood.
All right.
Okay, with the amendment, Wendy, roll call.
Aye.
Winslow,
Aye.
Mazzetti,
Yes.
Moody,
Yes.
Guerrero.
Yes.
I'm just making sure you guys are all still awake.
Yes. That's exactly what I thought.
5-0, thank you.
You went out of order, huh?
Ready? Resolution to accept by signature of the town supervisor in the capacity of chief financial officer, the renewal of the municipal contract with Auctions International, Inc. for the purpose of selling surplus equipment for the town of Lloyd Highway Department for a period of 2 years, effective July 1st, 2020 through probably June 30th, 2022, at the recommendation of Rich Klotz, Highway Superintendent.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Any
I
discussion?
second it.
Seeing none, roll call?
We're good with no discussion? Okay. Pizzuto,
Yes.
Winslow,
Yes.
Pizzetti,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Lenny.
5-0, so carried.
Resolution F, and I think I explained this to you when I sent it to you, that they were doing a budget amendment. The historian received a very generous donation for some research that she had done. So we are putting it into, we put it into gifts and donations, and we're going to put it back into her money for her to spend.
How nice.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion.
Second? We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, Wendy, roll call?
Pizzuto,
Yes.
Winslow,
Yes.
Pizzetti,
Yes.
Guerrero,
Yes.
Akmoody.
Yes.
5-0, so carried.
Okay, and the last one is we're hiring more lifeguards. Resolution to hire the following lifeguards: Riley Becker and Jocelyn Antonio at $12 an hour at the recommendation of Frank Alfonso, Recreation Director.
Thank you. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second. Second by Joe.
I'll second
Any
it.
discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please, Wendy.
Pizzuto,
Yes.
Winslow,
Yep.
Mazzetti,
Yes.
Guerrero,
Yes.
Akmoody.
Yes.
5-0, so carried.
You realize I have to visualize going down the table and asking each one of you, and that's why I put this. I'm like, okay.
Hold up.
this is
Well, hopefully, well, Andy, hopefully this is the last time you got to do it because we're going to be town hall.
That's right. Hopefully you're right.
So you see me looking in the sky, I'm like, where are they sitting?
Hopefully soon you'll be able to look at us.
Okay.
Motion to adjourn.
There's a motion to adjourn. Is there a second? Lenny?
Hold on. I'll second it, but I want a little discussion. It's got to do with each other.
Go ahead.
Listen, if everybody is out there, I've gotten a couple telephone calls from residents that are upset for the fireworks. And what I've told them is if you get fireworks, don't call 911, call 691-6102. Right? Is that it?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. I hope I'm giving them the right number.
Oh my God, you're right, Lenny, because I've been hearing them too.
Pardon?
I said you're right because they're in our neighborhood over here over here at the Wood. I hear them at night too on the weekends.
Yeah, well, a couple of people, they said they call 911, but by the time that this, that, and the other thing that doesn't go through, 6102, that way it goes right to the desk, and they can look into it.
But are they illegal?
Pennsylvania.
But they're not illegal now, I thought.
Well,
Yeah.
But people.
In New York State, any firework that creates what they call a report, in other words, a bang, is illegal. So.
Oh, really? I asked is they're selling them like crazy.
In Pennsylvania,
There's a
state.
to adjourn in a
New
second.
York State, Dave.
Yeah, so those are what we call sparklers. And
Okay.
they're made by for some godforsaken reason, Department of Ed and the business office of the county. My department, unfortunately, has to do inspections on those places. You see them on the side of the road. We don't allow that in the town of Lloyd, but so theoretically, you're seeing sparklers and whatnot.
It's crazy.
Yeah, crazy.
So somebody blows their fingers off, right? It's dangerous.
It is.
I have a motion in a second. Wendy, roll call.
We've got it with some motions. 5 ayes carried.
Five ayes carried. So carried.
Great,
We're
have a really
adjourned.
safe and wonderful 4th of July weekend.
Everyone,
Thank you.
yes.
Thank you all.
Thank you. You too. Bye-bye, everybody.
You all.
Thank you. Be safe. Thanks. Bye.